and get you these images and the sounds from Lake Charles. We're on Frugier Street here, taking a look at some of the damage here. You see some of the water pooling on the side of the road here. We haven't seen much of that. It's really a wind event at this point, at least in this part of Lake Charles. But looking ahead, we see a good field of debris coming up. We're not sure if we're going to be able to pass this area. We're going to try our best, but it is some substantial debris in front of us, and you see some of the cars in front of us trying to maneuver around as well. We haven't seen too many first responders in and around this area. We assume maybe they're responding to that chemical fire that we saw earlier. We do see down the side of these streets, there are people out and about right now in their cars. And we did see a few people on bikes trying to get around here, but this is their first chance as well, and many people said this is very catastrophic in terms of what they expected. But they are relieved to a certain point that there are still some standing structures. Again, Hurricane Laura is one of the most powerful hurricanes that rolled into Louisiana, and many people here in Cameron and Calcasieu parishes were ordered to leave. They were under a mandatory evacuation. We saw several people so far that did not evacuate, whether they didn't have the means or chose to ride it out. Regardless, they chose to stay. They said what they've seen so far is pretty eye-opening, but they're very grateful to be alive, and they're at this point waiting for the power to get turned back on. That may take some time, taking a look at some of the damage around here. We do see the first responder police car up ahead, but so far we haven't seen too many street lights. There's no power at this point. Cell coverage is very spotty, but taking a look at our right here, we do see a good amount of flooding and water on this street here. Looking down further this way, it's just impassable at this point. Plenty of trees that are down, blocking the entrances to these streets. We hope the people that chose to ride out the storm in those neighborhoods are okay. It's most likely they don't have power at this point, and that's going to make for a pretty miserable time post-storm event. We're here in Lake Charles. This is really our first opportunity to get to see what's happening here. Steve Wolfram has been kind of covering this with me as well.
Kind of.
Well, he is.
It reminds me a lot of Michael.
So, much of the talk in and around Cameron Parish specifically was about storm surge, but up in this area of Lake Charles, this is really a wind event. You see these power lines that are just snapped and crippled, leaning over onto the road here. It's going to be a bit of a slow go as we're moving through here as we try to maneuver around. Take a look on this side as well. We do see some people just kind of making their way, trying to see what's happened to their neighborhood, assessing what happened to their homes as well, but very eerily quiet. Thankfully, there's only a few people. Thankfully, there's not many people in and around this area. Hopefully, everybody else heeded the warning to leave. Because without power, and don't know what this water situation is going to be like. Without power and water at this point, it may be very tough to kind of go through the next few hours and the next few days for sure. There's a bit of traffic as many people are trying to do what we're doing, maybe assessing the damage as well. But this is going to be a bit dicey as we try to maneuver through here. Going through too, leading up to this event, we saw people leaving the lower areas, the low-lying areas of Cameron Parish. That is most likely going to be more of a flood event. Storm surge was projected to be 15 to 20 feet in those areas. We don't see much water in and around here, but as you can see around us, the wind damage is very extensive. Coming up to a Walgreens here, we see some people just lingering in the front. right and left. I mean, many of the businesses here did board up, and it was probably a good idea, but we see some small sheds, smaller structures that are blown to the side at this point. To your left, you can probably see looks like it used to be a mobile home or a trailer just shredded there. So it's just poured out onto the parking area there. It's a bit of a dicey game trying to maneuver around these people while we're trying to maneuver around the down power lines as well. Here looks like we have some military style vehicles here, likely National Guard, and we have a gentleman pulling up here. Get turned around, let's see a stage. It looks like it's a staging area for National Guard. Maybe they were pre-deployed, pre-positioned here. We're not sure. They're usually the first to respond, and I imagine they'll be here to distribute food and water in a short bit. There are people that did decide to stay behind for the storm. If you're just joining us, this is Thanh Truong and photographer Steve Wolfram. We're coming up into what looks like, I can't say it's a staging area, but maybe they're just in a hold pattern here. National Guard.
Get ready to clear. Trying to start clear these roads.
Yeah.
Heavy material.
Some heavy equipment here. Some halves. Hurricane Laura made landfall. Moved over, the eye moved over Cameron around 1 o'clock this morning, and we are pushing up close to